Welcome back and to episode 10. If you remember last week, we made good progress getting the fuel meter off, the water regulator and all the pipe work at the top of the engine. This week I'm hoping to get the cam carriers off and maybe even get the heads off. If you remember, back in episode 2 I think, I snapped one of the spark plugs off. And that's why we're trying to get the heads off so they can go away to an engineering company and be sort of fixed. So let's get going and see how we get on. This is one of those strangely satisfying jobs. These are the rubber caps that are on the cam covers that hide the cam bolts, and they look like this. They're kind of sort of squeezed in. Actually, really quite hard to get out. So I've practiced on a few, and the best way I've found is to kind of walk them out using two very sharp. These aren't screwdrivers. They're kind of, I don't know what tools, kind of braddles or something. But after walking it out, you can get it out. That's all sort of, you can see where it's, they're prone to breaking, they break up really quickly. I've only lost one so far, down inside the cam cover, which obviously the cam cover's coming off, so it's not a major problem, but I'm trying to get them out in one piece. Just, well, I don't know why really, I could just cut them off. But it is strangely satisfying. It feels like you're trying to pull a snail out of a shell. There it comes. Another one out. So I've done all this side. I've got, there's six down each side. I've got 5 more to do on the other side. You can see these are done there. Pretty much at the point now where I need to cut the cam belt. I've wound it to the crank to about 3 o'clock to pull those valves all back in. I'm hesitant because I'm just worried that there is a marker on the pulley. Obviously, when I put it all back together, I need to take this back so the marker lines up with the little tooth that's in there. You should be able to see that roughly where my finger is, and similar-ish on the other side. But these are so old and rusty, I'm worried that there isn't a marker. So I may just sort of cut a slither off. It's going to be roughly under my finger somewhere, this marker. I might just cut a sliver out the belt to see, because while the belt's still there, I can still rotate the crank back to top dead centre. Although, when I send the cams away, they're going to be altered anyway, so maybe I just need to go for it. I've been undoing all the these nuts on the underside. If I can just get you under there. You can just see them now, sort of centre of the screen. There's a row of these Allen head bolts which they use everywhere. I think I've got 3 of them cracked. I'm just waiting for a tool to come that will fit on my socket set, so I can hopefully it'll be a really nice tight fit within the Allen head, and being a socket set I can put a little bit more force and a bit more controlled manner than using a Allen key, which I don't really like. Once I've got these sort of cracked, I then go to the ones that are they're the same ones buried inside these holes. I can release those as well. Then that cam cover will come off with the cam inside, and that's why I need this timing belt cut, because obviously that's going to hold it in place. So I've hunted around. I can see no markers on the pulleys at all. So I've made my own. You can see I've just notched in a little tiny groove opposite the marker on the back of the engine. So I've done that on both pulleys, so if I do cut now, at least I've got that I can line it back up to. I do hope there is a proper marker there somewhere. Looking at undoing these bolts on this side as well, sort of in tandem with the other side. The process I'm doing is I've got my magical penetrating fluid in a squeezy bottle. And just sort of squirt it. Works quite well. Just sort of squirt and everything on the engine's really doused in this stuff, so it has a long time to soak. I've done pretty much every bolt on the engine, which is why it's dripping in oil. Then I'm going around these, giving them a really sharp shock, sort of tapping them, hoping that just sort of shocks the if they're rusted or corroded in place. It's worked on the other side quite well. It seems to work quite well on a lot of bolts. Just sort of systematically, not hard enough to deform the top, but enough just to shock them. Well, I feel like I should be keeping a sheared bolt tally. There's another one gone there, on that one there, and another one snapped off. Where are we? Just on this thing here. This one actually came out. This one's sheared off on the other side of there. I've got one more to take out, and then those two fittings can come off. We've got the one on the water bridge there, the regulator housing. We've got this spark plug. Let's have a quick count up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 if we include the spark plug. 5 because I've got one that's in one of the oil breather canister that's sitting up here that had a bolt in it that snapped. So we're up to 5, I think, wasn't it? That's not bad. We'll get there. It's going up slowly but surely. Okay, so I've got my tool has arrived now that can get in these deeper holes. But I'm just going to try it out on the these ones are a bit more exposed. Yeah, come undone nice and easily. I'm just using each one I put it on. I'm just sort of making sure it seats properly, and then giving it a little tap just to make sure it's really home. I'm just really worried about rounding these out and having to drill one out. It'll be a nightmare. They're not actually that tight, so that's good. There we go. Right, so I'll take those off and then we'll take this cam carrier off and we'll see what we've got inside. Okay. So that's what we've got. Quite an interesting lump. Obviously at the risk of jinxing this, the first two nuts I've tried just came undone straight away. I've not tried this one yet. Let's try this. Yeah. No real problem at all with these. It's really surprising. I wire brushed them. They've been soaking in penetrating oil for the last, well, quite a few days. Probably 4 days of penetrating oil. But they're just coming out. So that's really good. Oh. There it is, snapped. There's always one. So what we're up to now, 6 snap bolts, I think. Okay, well we'll have to extract that stud. Let me just get this nut out of the tool. I think that, I was going to say, I think that one's snapping as well. Okay, well, oh no, that's, yeah, that has. So that stud snapped off a lot deeper inside the head, so that would be a lot more problematic. Just filming this this nut here. I mean, I'm probably the last person to give advice about getting off a stuck nut, but this has been obviously soaked in penetrating oil for a long time. I started to undo it, and I can feel that to me it feels like the stud's starting to twist and going to snap, so I stopped. I should have heated up first, so I've heated it up really hot, so it's sort of, you know, red. Let it cool down. I've gone around tapping the edges of the nut with a hammer, short, sharp knock. Sprayed it again in penetrating oil, and now, if you watch, see, I can just turn it that much. And all I'm going to do is just go backwards and forwards, just adding a little bit extra each time. Keep spraying it in penetrating oil, so it's soaking its way in there into the threads. And I know that will come out. That just will now. And then I can extract the stud later with a little bit less stress and replace the stud. But it's really interesting how a nut that seems like it's not going to come, with a little bit of perseverance, it does come out. I should have heated it up to start with, to be honest. I think I was, again, overly confident because the others came out without any effort at all down this end. Okay, so the last bolt on the exhaust manifold, They all came off okay. One of them, two of them sheared. Was it two or one? No, two of them sheared. There's all the gaskets coming off as well. These two studs actually unwound. Those three stayed in. That one's sheared halfway, but I should be able to get that out because it's quite a lot sticking out. That one's fine, and that one has sheared deeper inside, so that will need a bit more careful operation. So all the cylinder head bolts came and done really quite easily, apart from this central one here, which I'm still fighting with. I'm heating it up, cooling it down, putting penetrating oil on it, hitting it with a hammer, going around again, you know, cycling like that. The ones inside that are sort of roughly where I'm pointing, they were pretty good. I mean, presumably because they're lubricated all the time, they don't really get a chance to rust. The top ones along here, they were stiffer, but not too bad. It's only this central one that's really causing a problem. I'm just going to keep working on it. I'm not going to rush it. I don't want to go risk snapping the stud, although, I mean, they're huge, so hopefully that won't snap. But we'll just keep bashing away at it for a minute. So my technique is just to keep putting pressure on it. Can't put much more than that. I'll try doing it up a little bit just so it knows we're on to it. Just hopefully just the waggling backs and forwards to slowly get some penetrating oil in there. This would have been much easier with the engine in the car. I'm worried about pulling it over. You have to put a lot of force on it. Okay, this is just started to move, so I'm just going to keep pulling it backs and forwards. I don't know if you can see how little it's moving, but it's like a couple of degrees, I guess. I've put more penetrating fluid on it, and just backs and forwards. Right, so I've been waggling it, pulling it, and it's just broken free on this side. So I'm hoping it'll just lift off now, which is why I'm back on the video. Really don't want to drop this, do we? Yeah, it's free. So hopefully, come on. It's just the gasket holding it on. There we go. One head. Wow. Let's pop it down and we can have a look. That's quite heavy. I'll just pan across each cylinder so you can see them. This has got a lot of sort of debris inside. I don't know how long the engine's been sat there. No, don't know. This one, obviously the piston's up. This one, the piston's right down, and the actual cylinder looks really clean. No scoring at all. Same this side. This is about midway up. Cylinder looks very clean. Like this side of the engine fared quite so well. Lots of coking up. I don't know what it means about the deposits on there. I guess the company that's going to refurbish the heads can tell me about that, or leave a comment. So hit the minor problem that this side is clearly still full of water, despite me using the drain plug and nothing coming out, and the previous owner telling me that it's all drained, but there's water coming out. So I'm going to leave the head on for a second and just work to see. I mean, there's a little dribble coming out the drain plug now, so it must just be all sort of bunged up with all the crud and stuff that's stuck inside the engine. So these are the cylinders for the head I just took off. This is the cylinder that had the stuck spark plug, and I note that it's very scored, the bore there, that I need looking at. All the other ones look okay to me. Obviously I can't see inside that one, but the others look okay. They're pretty clean, but certainly this one, if it'll focus on it for you, is pretty scored up. I thought I'd fish out a bit of the stuff that is inside the water jacket here. It's very strange, it's almost like sand. I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to get out in earnest. I just thought I'd have a little fish around and just see what's in there, out of interest more than anything else. But yeah, it's like sand. I don't know if that's normal. Do you end up with this sort of residue in there, or it's really weird. There's quite a lot of stuff though. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this episode here. Had a pretty good week. We've got both cam carriers off, both heads off, which are on the side there now, waiting to be taken over to the engineering company for rebuild. We hit a bit of a roadblock with the scored cylinder here, but I've already talked to that company and they said chuck it in the boot, bring it over to them, and they can have a look. So join me next week where I can give you an update on what we're going to do with that. Please subscribe, keep watching, and see you next time.